welcome, Graham McTavish. Thank you very much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about you. I mean, of course, we know the famous actor you are, but what about your commitment to the defense of environment?
Yeah, I mean, I try and I probably do too little when I think about it. I think probably like a lot of people, one's life gets taken up with many other things, and things like the environment might get shuffled to the back. But I do my best in terms of, you know, I do recycling, and I live in New Zealand most of the time, and there's a big commitment to recycling in New Zealand. So I've been doing that. I try and my eldest daughter does upcycling, so that's good. But you know, I'm a child of the 1960s, and things were very different then. So I think there's a lot of catching up to do for people of my generation.
And according to you, what is today's emergency?
Well, that's a very big question. I mean, my personal feeling is that we need to guard against many things in the world. You know, the climate is one, but we need to be careful as well of things that are affecting our freedom, our ability to make choices in the world, and those are things that I try and encourage my children more than anything to have critical thought, to look behind the headlines. You know, this isn't an emergency, but I think it's very important that all of us commit to really thinking deeply about what is happening and coming to our own conclusions about those things.
And what kind of solution would you like to see implemented and developed in order to fight climate change, for example?
I think one of the great things that would help any of these sort of subjects is transparency, open debate, encouraging people to talk with each other, people who might not agree with each other, to actually spend time listening to what the other person is saying. Because I think one of the dangers that we live in today's society, especially with social media and all of that sort of thing, which is different to how I grew up, is that we are in danger of living in our own little echo chambers constantly, where we're not open to anything outside of our own small circle. And I think that's something we need to guard against.
Now, let's close your eyes for a minute and dream about the kind of dream world that you would like to live in. What would that be?
Well, a world of, I think, you know, to go back to my original point, a world of, you know, freedom for people, mutual respect, a world where we listen to others, where we're not quick to condemn, and to take time. In the kind of world that I grew up, as I say, we would have very spirited debates in pubs just around the corner from this building, where people would get very impassioned. There would be lots of disagreement, but you would end up being friends still at the end of it. And I think that's the path that I want to see for the future, that we move forward, whatever our views are, but we move forward together rather than trying to divide our society.
So what would be the first step, according to you, in order to get closer to that dream?
I think, honestly, I mean, it sounds a little bit like I'm repeating myself, but I think the first step is to encourage people to listen and to give their views, but to listen to the views of others. And that can be applied to pretty much anything, you know, politics, whatever you want. And that's the starting point. The starting point isn't just sitting behind a wall of one's own beliefs and refusing to let anybody in to challenge those beliefs, I think. So whether you believe in X or Y, it's interesting to hear the alternative, and that would be my first step.
And finally, you know, there's a very big event in Glasgow at the moment, COP26. So what do you expect from COP26?
Gosh. Well, I try and be optimistic about these things. I think, you know, I think there are a couple of key players in the world that are not really present at COP26, and I don't think that's going to be particularly helpful. I hope at the end of it, people will have come away doing exactly what I've said in all the other answers, that they've listened to people. They've really listened to them. They've come with an open mind and left with an informed mind, and that's the most that I could hope from any of these kind of things, to be honest. Information.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for asking me.